Hola, hola, it's your girl Erica from America. Welcome to the Confidence Chronicles podcast. This podcast is all about helping you stand in who you are. Stop giving a fuck what people think about you. Start standing as your fully expressed self. As you are, as is, there is no filter needed. You are fucking awesome, and I am here to remind you. I'm a confidence coach, and I'm a bold stand for confidence, and I cannot wait to dig into today's episode with you. Hello. Welcome to the podcast. What is going on in our motherfucking world? Oh my goodness, y'all. It is, when we are recording this, what is today, Mr. Kramer? I think it is the 28th. Yes, it's the 28th of March, 2020. We are recording this because we are in the thick of some crazy times, and there is a lot of pressure around for humanity. And I noticed myself, just as a little behind the scenes, y'all know I record my podcast in my car, and I usually, when my routine is a little bit more normal, I'm back and forth driving an hour to the office, dropping kids off at childcare, driving to my office, to the studio, driving back. So I spend a lot of time in my car. That's why I be talking to y'all in my car. And I haven't been in my car much by myself. So we got homeboy Mr. Hamish Kramer in the background.
What's up?
What up? Being my Uber driver right now while we record this, because I'm like, shit, I need to get my podcast out. So we're trying to really work with our disrupted routine right now. So I'm sending you all love out there. Those of you that are working from home, maybe you got kids climbing on your head and you're trying to do your shit, or, trying to take care of business out of a normal routine. I see you. It's really difficult, but just keep your head up. Today's episode, I wanted to talk to you about how we perform under pressure. And I want you to not just think about the pandemic situation. I want you to come back to this podcast because pressure happens in so many other ways. There's so many things that hit us. So many things happen in our world. We have daily pressures. There are things that happen daily. And this pandemic and this opportunity, this crisis, really shows you who people are and how people act. We've really getting to see how people are. And like money, it amplifies who we are. When we're in crisis, how do we act? Do we freak the fuck out? Are we in high anxiety and stress? Are we hiding? We were just talking about the flight or fight response. And it's like you run, yes? Yeah. You hide, or you fight. And so this amygdala, this little thing inside of our brains, this is what gets, reacted when we are in fear, when something like this happens to us. Now, whether fear from a pandemic, fear from stress, fear from a divorce, whatever kind of fear, caring what people think about you, this is what usually humans will do. And so I want you to start thinking about, how are you acting right now in this current time? How are your friends acting? How are companies acting? How is your government acting? And it's not right or wrong. It's just something to notice. Because if you see yourself acting under pressure in a way that you don't want to be acting, that's called awareness. And when you know what you're doing, you can start to change it. But many of us numb out at this time. And if we talk about, why can't I say that shit? The fight or flight? Okay, the fight or flight response. And we talk about what people do. Some of my clients right now have been home and they literally have just been eating everything in the refrigerator. Like eating, right? Hamish and I were saying recently that we noticed we were having a little bit more gin than usual last week. And we don't drink during the week. And so to have a drink during the week, we're like, shit, what the hell? Like, what is this? So what would that be considered? Would that be considered?
It's a bit of hiding.
Hide. That would be considered the hide, right? The freezing. Is that freezing? Yes. And so we numb out. And it's like, I don't want to deal with this right now. I don't want to be with this right now. So I'm going to subconsciously just eat my food and drink my drinks and sleep all day and numb this shit out. And I'm going to tell you what, I know that we are being told to self-isolate or we're in quarantine or whatever it is, but sleeping all day and eating all the food and drinking all the alcohol is not going to make the shit go away. If anything, it's fucking with your whole system. You're going to feel worse about it. and you're not really addressing what's going on for you. And remember that if you're new to the podcast, go back and listen to How to Manage Your Mind, because everything we talk about here is about how you're choosing to think. And I know that you're like, I'm not choosing stressful thoughts, but I'm like, you are. You are choosing stressful thoughts. And depending on what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're doing, what you're not doing, depending on your actions, you're going to be creating more of these thoughts. So if you are 24/7 watching the news, or 24/7, listening to your mother who's watching the news and living in fear, that is going to get stuck to you. It's going to rub off on you. Fear is very much something that we borrow. Sometimes we keep it for life from someone else. So I want you to start thinking about this, because you have an opportunity in this crisis. You have an opportunity in what's going on in the world to choose something else. And consider that it's not what's happening with the coronavirus or the pandemic or everybody's bought all the fucking toilet paper. Consider it's your thought about it. So coronavirus can't stress you out. It doesn't have the power to stress you out. Your thought about it, the thought in your head that says, oh my God, what if I get it? Oh my God, what if my business goes to shit? Oh my God, what if? That is what's fucking stressing you out, not the actual thing. And it's really fucking important that we understand the difference, because when you know that it's not that, nothing changes. Hamish and I did an amazing webinar last week with our community, just with the whole world. We had about 150 people show up live. Shout out to you if you were on live. And the thoughts and things that people were saying. And Hamish said this really good point, babe, that you brought up. He was like, what did you say? You stress, it doesn't change anything or something.
Yeah,
like it doesn't matter what you're thinking about it. It doesn't change the situation.
Thinking about it doesn't change the situation. Or I think we were talking about how, you're looking to all this media, or maybe you're looking to a government, or maybe you're looking to someone else to give you some sort of relief.
Yes, that was it.
From this pandemic, or from the situation we find ourselves in. We're kind of searching for some news that maybe will take the pressure off or make us feel better for it. And we're not going to find that externally. We're not going to find peace in the media. We're not going to find peace from other people or our governments. That's not their role. Peace is something we have to cultivate for ourselves.
Yes.
And find for ourselves. So, the media's just doing their job. Their job is to, get your eyeballs and get your attention on what they're putting out there. So fear is going to sell more than positivity. So yeah, we tend to go into that feeling of numbness and just sort of, I found myself doing it, looking at the numbers, is things going down, looking at the reports, is there a cure yet? Looking at the reports, is this getting worse? Is this getting worse? And actually all I was doing was consuming more and more data. So then I had to actually, unplug from that and center myself, do some meditation, find some peace. And that's how I got back there. That's how I got back to feeling normal again and back to myself, but not looking out there. The other thing I thought about yesterday, which I wanted to add, we're all been talking about what's essential and non-essential services. And it dawned on me that maybe we should also consider what's essential and non-essential information we should be taking in.
Oh, boom.
Bam.
Drop.
Because obviously there is definitely essential, and some of us are listening out for government announcements and the Health World Organization announcements about what we should be doing and how we can social distance ourselves and how to, lower the curve, etc., etc. And, they're bringing out things that we need to do together as a people, as a community. And I would think that that's essential information. And then there's a bunch of non-essential information. And I would say 90% of it is non-essential, where it's constantly rehashing the same information. It's constantly painting a picture of doom and gloom.
And it's asking like random people from 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, sir, you're a doctor. What do you think about all this? It's like, who the fuck
Exactly.
is this
And
guy?
their predictions about numbers and their extrapolations about how bad this can be. And it's not to say that none of those things are possible, but we have an opportunity to put our attention on the things that we want to put our attention on. And I know for sure, constantly putting our attention on all the bad news and all the worst case scenarios just drives us into more fears and drives us into more numbness. And so if the statistics and probability are all even, we can, the good stuff can happen just as much as the bad stuff. And I'm making a choice to focus on what good can happen while being aware of that, things can be bad as well. I'm not trying to pretend that we're living in a rainbow colored, glasses here, But it's something to think about. Like, what's essential and what's non-essential for you, you know?
Yeah.
What's essential for you to get by and to keep aware and to keep vigilant and to keep looking after yourself, and what's non-essential? What's driving you deeper into fear? What's driving you deeper into sadness and depression? And maybe make a choice to cut the non-essential and just stick with the essential for now.
Love that.
Until we know. Yeah.
I love that. Some advice from Mr. Kramer. That's my husband, by the way, in case you don't know. Head over to @manfulnessmen on Instagram and you can listen to the wisdoms that Mr. Kramer has to say. I really love that because that's exactly what they've been telling us about where to go and what not to do. And it's like, we need to take that for the media. We need to take that for the stuff that we're consuming. And so many of our clients as well have been like, social media is the devil right now. And I just think when people say that, I'm like, what are you following? Like, who are you following and what are you watching? And if you need to unfollow people, please, you guys, go and do it. If you are watching stuff that is stressing you out on social media, on your timeline, on your feed, get that shit off your feed, because right now you need to keep your mindset as clean as possible. So that is the hide. That is when the flight or fright response, or hide. So we're numbing out, we're falling asleep, we're staying asleep, we're not wanting to get up. It's basically when you're in full-on depression and you don't want to deal with life. Now, I think right now, and I'm going to get Hamish to do some tips after this as to what you can do when times like this happen, like what you should be doing and keep doing so that you feel better when you're under pressure or when you're under stress, because there are some things you obviously need to sleep, but if you're sleeping all day or drinking all day or eating shitty food, this is actually you're numbing out. You're trying not to feel the feelings that are going on and pretending that they're not there by eating food or drinking or sleeping, and the shit's not going to go away. So we can't hide from that. The next one is, what is it, run or fight?
Yeah, fight or flight.
Okay.
Fight.
So let's talk about fight. I've seen so many memes out there of like, fuck you coronavirus, fuck coronavirus, and just like the fuck cancer. Listen, that is not useful for you to be like, fuck you coronavirus, or fuck you body that got sick, or fuck you cancer, or fuck you anything, because it is not the thing that's happening that's fucking with us. It's your own immune system. It's your own body. If you are going to get this, it is due to the lack of immunity that you have. If you consider, it's not like we watched something yesterday where a bunch of celebrities got the coronavirus, right? Yeah. And it was like, it doesn't discriminate. Like, it's not choosing people. You're going to get it if your immune system is low. It's a virus, right? So it's really just thinking about...
I think anybody will get it.
Yeah.
Anyone can get it. We can all get it. You know, having a strong immune system to fight it is definitely what you want in your back pocket if you do get it.
Yeah.
So we're not saying that low immunity leads to coronavirus, but, you know, anyone can get it, and having a good immune system will definitely help you fight this.
And I think the fighting is that in your immune system, not fighting, oh, fuck this, or, you know, this sucks, or like getting pissed off and angry about this right here, and getting angry at your government and talking shit about what people are doing. Listen, it's really difficult to do whatever decisions any government's doing, and it's really easy for people to talk shit about that. But when you're talking about fighting this, I want you to think about your immune system. That is what we could actually work with, and that's actually what we have control over.
Yeah, for sure. But I also think what we're talking about with the fighting side of it, when we say, you know, fuck coronavirus or whatever you may be saying, I think what we end up doing is saying it's an us and them kind of like it's us versus the coronavirus, it's us versus cancer. And I think when you get out of that kind of mentality and take a step back, then you'll see that we all have had a responsibility or have had a hand in creating whatever this has done to us.
Yeah.
So, you know, viruses come up about because maybe we haven't been living in accordance with nature. Maybe we haven't been, our economies are not looking after the planet, or we haven't been looking after each other, or maybe we haven't been taking our health into consideration, and you know, looking at the pollution that we got on this earth, and looking at the way we waste things and destroy things. So I think when we say, you know, fuck whatever it is, I think we're actually hiding our own responsibility inside of this thing here. So there's many reasons why things happen to us, and I think we need to all sit down and have a good look at ourselves and go, how have we been living, or how have I been behaving, or have we been acting as a society or as a people that has allowed something like this to kind of flourish. And while not everything is within our control, there's definitely a lot of areas that we can start going, oh, okay, well, we need to be different from here on in. Maybe from here we'll start to go, you know what, my health is important, and I'm not going to smoke, and I'm not going to eat rubbish food because I want to have a good immunity. Or, you know what, we're not going to destroy bunches of rainforests and habitats where sometimes this virus is. Or maybe we're going to, not use technology as much as we have because that's affecting us, or it's affecting these ecosystems.
It just feels like we've had to level up the way that we are being. And it feels like this is I think a lot of people have been saying that I didn't realize how much I love being around other people. I didn't realize how grateful I am because of other countries are really going through it bad versus someone living in a first world country may not be. So I feel like, and we talked about this yesterday, babe, this is really going to be a time that people remember how much we took for granted.
Absolutely.
And we will, oh shit, this is the shit I talk about in my podcast about, don't wait for a near-death experience to go for the life you want.
Yeah.
A lot of people right now are questioning, do I want to work where I work? Do I want to be married to this fucking person that now I'm stuck in the house with, quarantined, right? Do I want to live in this part of the world? Fuck, I haven't done the dreams I wanted to do. What if I died tomorrow? This is a great time for us to start looking at how we've been living and deciding, life is precious and short, and we should go for what we want, and we should do it as soon as we can. And so I think it's really been a great time for people to step into gratitude, to step into what we do have. Fuck, it is just remarkable what something like this can do. And this is silver lining. There's always something good in the bad. Always something good comes out of the bad. Okay, what's that next one? The run. Do you want to explain what that would be in this case scenario? How do we explain run?
Yeah, running would be the same or similar.
Is that self-isolate?
I think it'd just be trying to get away, or trying to keep moving in the opposite direction. Maybe some of it could be running could be seen as people not listening to the advice about staying at home a little bit and trying to go out there and hang out with people and socialize, and it's kind of a running away from the problem, or
acting like it's not real.
Yeah, it could be. That could be a response, running away from it all, or wanting to run away from it all, but not believing that it's kind of it's really going on. So running could be something like that. It could be, running could also be kind of distracting yourself with other things, and not really being present with what's really going on with us. Trying to be frantic and I guess if that's where even the worry can come from. It's just okay, we got to do something, and we're running around, maybe buying toilet paper, or running around trying to hoard all the stuff that we need for ourselves, and running around and in that kind of
frantic last minute, apocalypse shit.
Yeah, not really thinking about whether the steps we're taking make any sense at all. We're just running.
Yes.
Or following what everybody else is doing.
And I think too, and I want you to explain why this is not a useful place to be all the time. And our friend Dr. Joe Dispenza's we're in this state 70% of the time already, which is a high stress state, basically. The amygdala goes off when you're in high stress. And he says 70% of the time humans are in high stress. This is pre-fucking pandemic, people. I can't even imagine right now. I can't even imagine. Maybe 98% of the time we are in high stress. So what is this doing to people, babe? Being in the fight or flight. What is this doing to our bodies? What is this doing for our everything?
I think everyone needs to understand why we have a fight and flight response, and that's usually the number one reason is for our survival. It's really there to protect us from things that are in our external environment. So it's the thing that when you go and touch a hot flame, the natural reaction is to pull your hand away, or if there's a natural disaster which is going on, it'll get you to run. So these are really useful mechanisms to help us protect ourselves as best that we can. I think the problem is with these systems we're living in a very different time and a different society to what we've, have in the past. And so a lot of these responses are happening automatically on the inside, but we're not actually
running.
We're not actually running, and we're not actually fighting. And so it's kind of like Joe Dispenza says, like stepping on the brake and the pedal at the same time, where our bodies are wanting us to go and run away physically from these things, or wanting to physically fight, but we're actually not doing it. And so if you look at it from an energy perspective, your body is pumping its heart, it's rising cortisol, it's rising your adrenal glands, it's sweating your palm, it's preparing you for getting away, and then we're sitting really, really still. So it's a very stressful state to be in. And, I'm in health and fitness, so often we used to always be, interested in this type of response to the body, because even from a fitness perspective, some of the most sought after exercises are running and fighting, if you think about it. Yeah. So, people love to box or fight or, lift weights, and then running is one of those other exercises that people kind of love to do. And we're in a situation now where we're kind of not able to express this energy, and so maybe we're, because we're in that state, we're sort of pushing towards hiding or numbing ourselves, because we're trying to find some peace in this, because we can't actually run or move or fight. And we're pushing ourselves deeper and deeper into kind of into a bit of a lost state, or a bit of a hiding or freezing state. Yeah. So it's quite a lot for the body to be taking in. It's quite a lot for our minds to be taking in, and unfortunately being in this state puts us further and further into fear and further into stress. And so we're sort of spiraling downwards at the moment, and it's often why people seem on the surface to be doing all right, and then all of a sudden kind of snap. It's because the whole system becomes too overwhelmed, and we have a panic attack, or something kind of disrupts our whole biology. Yeah,
well, we can't sustain that. And that's the thing. It's that, 70% of the time is high enough. Never mind right now with what's going on. And then what is that doing to your immunity, your whole body? It's taking everything that your body has, quite literally internally, to prepare for war and be all pumped up and be like, and freaking out inside. Internally, our bodies are using everything they have. Where's your immune system? And how are you meant to, how are these cells meant to fight, build immunity and fight diseases and viruses that come your way? Your body's actually fucked and exhausted from the inside out. Yeah. And that compromises your whole immune system even further. And
you got to realize, if we really boil down to things that are really basic, everything in this universe takes energy, so you need energy to keep your body going. You need energy to do the things that you need to do. Your body needs energy to fight off, like Erica said, fight off these pathogens, and to help your body heal and to recover and to keep that immune system going. So if your body is constantly using that energy in the ways of stress, it's kind of like what we call an energy leak, because you're preparing for these dangers that are in your environment, but then nothing's actually happening. And so we're just leaking energy here, making ourselves more and more susceptible to an attack. More and more susceptible to our body's, immune system being compromised. And, so from even that perspective, and then so we're waking up tired, we're waking up exhausted, and then maybe we're not sleeping well, and, then we wake up even worse, and then we're not eating well, and then we're not moving well.
Cycle,
and so,
isn't it?
This really, and then, who has energy to eat well when you're stressed and tired? We lean to convenience. We're not going to prepare a beautiful organic meal when we're exhausted, and the last thing we kind of want to do when we're tired is go for a run or do a workout. I think a lot of people I've noticed been getting angry with a lot of fitness places that have been doing online workouts, because a lot of people are like, man, stop making me feel so bad. I don't have time. I don't want to do it. I can't be bothered. Or they're angry at seeing so many people getting fit and still staying healthy, because for them, they're like, I don't want to do this right now. I want the break. I'm feeling exhausted. I'm feeling overwhelmed. The last thing I actually want to do is now work out. So yes, it's like clear examples of how we're dealing with the current situation.
I think basically what we want to say to you is, when you're under pressure, shit goes on in your body, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. And I hope that this highlights and brings some awareness to you, and you can start paying attention to what you're choosing to do in this environment. And this could be anything that's stressful. It doesn't have to just be this pandemic. There will be stressful things that happen in our lives. How do we choose to address it, right? And what I want to say to you is maybe some things that you could consider. If you are a small business person, you own a business, something for me that we have found under pressure is we have innovated, and we have had to innovate, because right now, if you don't decide to actually do something right now, and you decide to hide, and you have a business or a service that you provide, it could literally mean you closing the doors. It could literally mean that you're living in the fake reality of how life used to be pre-coronavirus pandemic, and you didn't adjust to the now, what's going on right now, and you're not checking in with humanity and where people are and creating services or products to help people and meet them where they are right now, which is what innovation is about. You know, a lot of businesses are saying pivot. That's fucking been used, that word, so much in corporate and business right now, but we really have to. So just like, I just want to give you some thought around that. Yeah.
To that point, like if you just go back and listen to what we've been talking about, when you're in fear and high stress and you're exhausted, the last thing your brain is going to want to do is innovate.
Yeah.
And that's why we're not innovating, because of the state we're finding ourselves in. So
totally.
Erica is exactly right. You know, businesses and entrepreneurs are revolving and changing and adjusting and find new ways to serve their clients.
Right now.
But the number one thing you have to do is, how do you get yourself out of this stressful state? Because we were talking about the flight or flight response, and we need to get our prefrontal cortex, which is really that problem solving part of our brain, to turn back on again. And when we're in a fear state, that's the last time, that's the least productive time to meditate. Yeah. That's the least productive time to think of solutions. That's the least productive time. Exactly. So your number one thing has to be, how do I get myself out of this position? As in, unplug from the media, find some balance, eat good food. Maybe you need to exercise and move, you know, if you can.
100%.
Some of us might be in quarantine and can't get out, but there is something you can do to get that heart rate up, change that physiology, and then, you know, relax yourself, really give yourself a break from social media or the phone, really start consuming some positive stuff, and then you'll start to see your body starting to recover a little bit, or starting that stress hormone starting to reduce. Then you're more likely to start going, okay, what's the solution from here? Once you start feeling better, you're going to want to start doing better. So really connecting with where you're feeling right now and how to slowly move yourself out of that hole, so that you can be innovative and productive and start thinking of solutions and be of service. And I think if we all do that collectively, we're all going to get through this together and be better on the other side of it, as opposed to everything being destructive and falling apart.
100%. So I want to ask Hamish to tell us what is something that he's noticed that he's had to do, because we're going to finish, but what we want to give you a few things, a few tips that you could try to do in this time. If you have noticed that you are in one of the fearful responses and you're just really struggling right now and you don't know how to move and have a better result in your life, because you can still have a great life. You can still, you know, live the life of your dreams through this hard scenario. We are loving our life right now. We have never felt more energized and more excited to do what we do. And so it's not all doom and gloom. We're going to get through this. But in order for us to get through this, like Hamish said, we have to really protect ourselves. We have to make sure that we're in good spirit and make sure that our immune system is high and we're not living in stress. So we're going to just tell you some of the things that we're doing. So for me, I've said to Hamish, I love to be of service. And so my brain is like a problem solving fucking machine. And I literally can't sleep at night if I don't write all the notes down and the ideas that I have as to what I want to do. What I've also noticed is that I'm finally getting tired. And Hamish is like, what the fuck? Because I don't get tired. And we've been filming things, doing mini courses. I've been showing up online. Like, I've been going hard to support and be of service. And I'm not even getting this financial kickback of this. I'm literally just doing this because I want to fucking help humanity. But what I need to realize is, if I go too hard, I'm going to fuck myself over. I'm not going to be rested and I'm going to be exhausted, basically. So martyrdom, giving everything I have to others and not giving to myself. So I've said to Hamish next week, because we don't know if we're going to be in lockdown at the moment. Australia's not in lockdown. I've said next week I'm going to have just days off and do nothing, you know, as literally just sit at home and not try to create anything, because I know I need to rest. Also exercise. Hamish is going to tell you what he's doing, but really finding that if I don't get out in nature, I'm in my fucking head trying to do more things. And so getting out, we live at the beach, you know, getting out in nature and going for walks. That's really, really, really helped me. And choosing to listen to really great podcasts right now would be my tipperinos for me.
I agree. I'm always about, when I'm stressed or analysis paralysis, which is what we're all trying to do at the moment. Like we're in our brains and we're trying to look at our, focus our attention on how to get ourselves out of this problem sometimes from a stress perspective. And so usually my go-to is physiology. Like, how can I change up my physiology? Because once I get out of my head and into my body, it really balances me out. So, if you can, try and do some yoga at home, try and do some breath work. If you're not sure, look at the Wim Hof method. Just do some push-ups, anything which can just change your physiology really quickly, I think will kind of snap you out of that sort of analysis paralysis type state. I think that's really important. Yes, I also agree with the nature part of it. I love being out in nature, and I know for some of us it's a bit difficult right now, but even just taking your eye gaze away from TV and away from the phone and looking at a horizon if you can, because it actually allows the muscles in your face to relax and to open up and to look at a wider view. And it's quite a good analogy, is because the idea of like taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture or a wider view, or looking at the horizon, allows actually our brain to go into that problem solving mode, or it actually allows us to kind of take a step back and to trying to look at things with a different perspective, can really help us in these kind of times. So give yourself these moments where you're detaching and you're allowing yourself to be in nature, or to maybe just go out there. Like we went out there and put our hands just on the ground and just kind of felt the earth.
Think some people can't do that though. Some of them are in quarantine.
But they might have a backyard, or they might have some area that they can go. If you can't, you can't.
The front yard, the patio,
something,
the window.
Or if you can't, just in your home, just put your hands on the ground and just kind of feel the earth through it if you can. I think they're little things that I do just kind of get myself back into grounded. I also love incense because I'm big on the senses. So anything that smells good or looks good or feels good, or that just brings myself back. So we use Palo Santo or sage or these little incenses. Again, you're just trying to bring your other senses back alive and not to be so much in your head. I think that really can change, how we're feeling, pretty rapidly, so that we can kind of handle the situation again.
Yes. All right, you guys, that is it from us today. I hope that this helps you under pressure, some tips, some things to think about and to choose where you are at. We love you so, so much. Stay safe, stay kind, wash your hands, look after yourselves, and we will see you soon. My darling, we are in wild times right now. And in order for you to manage your mind and boost your immunity and be level-headed instead of panic, I want to invite you to consider online training, to consider joining a community, a sistership where you are going to be held, where you're going to be supported, where you have a safe space to unravel. And with all this time at home, you can actually better your life and work on yourself. Good news as well, I have now done a 12-month payment plan for the online sisterhood. So many women right now are experiencing trouble with their finances, losing their jobs, being single mothers, not knowing when their next money or paycheck is going to come from. And we are navigating that with our current sisterhood members. We are working with every woman that we can in order to support them in these tough times. And I hear you out there saying, I'd love to join the sisterhood, but I can't afford it. I can't afford 6 payments. So what I've done is made it a year-long program. It's a year-long program with a year-long payment plan. I really, really want you to consider if this is the time for you to join the sisterhood and work on yourself. It is available to you now. Let's do the damn thing. Thank you so much for listening. I so appreciate your ears, your time, your energy, and your attention. Please do me a favor and head over to Apple iTunes, subscribe so that you don't miss an episode, share this episode with a sister who you know needs to hear it, and if you feel called to, leave me a review. I'd love to know what you think about the podcast. I'd love to know how this information is helping you change your world. Thank you so much for being here. I know that there are many podcasts you could listen to, and I really appreciate you listening to mine. Have a gorgeous week, honey.